KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. Woo woo! Happy Leo season. Happy Miles' birthday. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First, and my very first thing every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's take off in this rocket ship. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to do, and so much going on this week. Yay! So I'm glad you're here. And this is how we do things on a Monday. First hour is left coast, Pacific Ocean side of town, what's going on around here. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And we lead off our first day of the week, always second hour, with Sahara Ali and Mindful Mondays, getting ourselves spiritually in alignment, mindfully in alignment for the week ahead. Then hour three, we do a deep dive with a hot topic or a person of persons of interest. Today, the person of interest is Estella Holman. Been looking forward to talking with her. She is a well-being expert. She's also a poet, and she is in possession of many a modality that can help us live better, do better, and feel better. We are celebrating Leo season. Happy birthday to Miles Lowe. My mom, Diane DiPrima, her birthday was last week. My brother's birthday this week. My sister's. All the Leos, the lions are out. I mean, Lord have mercy. Why do I have so many friends and relatives that are Leos? Happy birthday, Miles.
Thank you, Dominique. How are you today?
I'm blessed. And fittingly, I think it's like International Hip Hop Day or something.
The birthday hip hop. You know, this had the 50th anniversary a couple years ago. It's like 52 this year. But it was August 11th.
So they decided your birthday is hip hop's birthday?
But look, hip hop turned 18 when I was born.
Because, you know, there's controversy. Some people say it's 60 years old. Some people say it's 40. I know the sort of general consensus a couple of years ago, they said, okay, it's 50. We all went along with it. But there's no settled exact date of the birth of hip hop.
So the actual date that they credited for is the infamous Kool Herc.
I know. Trust, I know.
A party invite.
I got it. I got you. And
Come on, man. It's all look. Hip hop's a Leo.
That's why people go along with it. Okay.
Hip hop's a Leo, Dominique.
Hip hop's a Leo. Okay, but it could be a Leo 52 years ago, could be a Leo 62 years ago, could be a Leo 72 years ago, or 32 years ago, depending on whom you ask. That's all I'm saying.
Some people don't reveal their age, and I don't think hip-hop needs to reveal their age.
Yeah,
Just
that's
keep
right.
it
I'm with that.
Fish status.
I mean, you know what it is. You know what it do.
Yeah.
So just go with it. But I'm just saying, there are, especially now, lots of different, especially in today's environment, there's lots of different origin stories. I know most people go with the DJ Kool Herc story. Okay. In honor of hip hop's birthday, I'm not, you know this, Miles. I'm not really into national this week or national that month. Like, for the most part, I ignore those because I feel like they're just marketing ploys and I don't really care. Like, I'll talk about cancer anytime. I'll talk about education all the time. Hip hop is life. It's not just today. But I understand the leader of this radio station is celebrating Hip Hop Day today, International Hip Hop. So I thought, well, you know, let's get on it.
The rapper, keep the hip hop alive, man.
With special guest me.
Celebration.
With special guest me. I always think about that clip where Snoop Dogg says, and today I'd like to thank myself. Whatever it is, hip hop has been a part of my whole life. You said, according to the official stats, it was 18 when you were born.
Right.
However old it is, it's been a part of my whole life. And, well, most of my life. And I feel like it's been like this friend that never gives up on you. You know what I mean? Whether you're paying attention or not, whether you're in touch all the time or not, whenever you need that friend is there.
No, that's love. I've thought about my relationship with hip hop and music as well over the weekend. And, you know, I felt the same way about it. Like, hip hop never, it's there when I need it to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always it's loyal to me the same way I'm loyal to it. It loves me back the same way I love it back. Through its good, through its bad, I accept its flaws, it accepts my flaws.
Just like family, right?
Yeah.
You get what you get. You accept the flaws and you
learn to commit through it. That's what I've kind of learned through music. It's taught me to commit through a lot of things.
Interesting. Okay. I don't know if I could say that. But I mean, I kind of think hip hop loves me more than I love hip hop.
Really?
And I love hip hop a lot. Yeah. But they say you should always be with someone that in a romantic relationship, you should be with someone who loves you more.
Okay. I got you.
Than you love them. Doesn't mean you don't love them. Just means they have to love you a little bit more.
Yeah, hip hop for me has shown a lot of loyalty, giving a lot of power to me. So yeah, I love it.
Same. It's funny too because I always say I'm like the hip hop Forrest Gump. I just happen to be in the right place at the right time. It's like, oh, okay, hey, you're Run DMC. I was thinking about that this morning. My very first big interview in hip hop. I had talked to like local people or whatever, but my first famous persons that I ever interviewed in hip hop was Run DMC.
Oh, wow.
And back then that was a really, really, really big deal. I was so nervous. And I remember I went, because back then you didn't have hip hop gear. There were no brands. I know y'all can't imagine this. There was no streaming. We didn't have phones. There were no brands. If Run DMC's coming on the show and you're trying to get ready for that interview, you're going to go and find every cassette tape that you have. You're going to go and try to get your friends' cassette tapes to make sure you've heard everything you can hear. And then you're going to go and gather up magazines like The Source and stuff, because there is no internet. What can I find out about these people? I have to get the actual magazine or newspaper.
How'd that interview go for you?
It was actually pretty good. They were really nice. I went and I had friends that were spray can artists, so I went and had a sweatshirt sprayed up for me, made my own gear because I was so excited to have them. Super dorky. And I was very, very nervous, and they were very, very kind. It went pretty well. It could have been better. I don't know that I was as professional as I should have been. But they were really, really kind and funny. So it went well. But I think it was that interview, and I think one of the next big ones I did was Rakim. Rakim is the one that really taught me that my job is to make the other person feel comfortable.
Right.
It's not about how cute do I look and what am I going to say. I have to listen. And even though that person is famous, my job is to put them at ease.
I mean, it's important for you to deliver it how you need to deliver it as well, though, too.
Yeah, but the key to all that nervousness and corniness is listening. Right. And it's because Rakim was a tough interview.
Old school New York, calm, cool, collect, yeah.
Yeah, and you got to think, we're talking a long time ago, right? We're talking 80s.
And you on the West Coast, too.
And so they have no idea who I am. Nobody did. It's like my second hip-hop interview. He's probably still a dealer. I don't know. He's like real, real hard and real not media tested at all. You know what I mean? And every single question I asked him, he'd be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is not a soundbite. What am I going to do? This is not going well at all. And he was one of my faves, still is. So that was a tough day. Not because he was mean or anything, but just he wasn't media trained, and he was just, Rakim from New York,
fresh off the stoop.
Woo, yeah, we got through it. I did actually end up getting some good stuff from him, but that's because he started freestyling. The actual talking part wasn't that good.
Most rappers.
Well, yeah, it goes in degrees though. And I think now you got more people that are more used to it because of social media. They do a podcast or they're talking on their own lives or whatever. So people are a lot more media trained.
Plus, they've got to see years of artists develop into, the speakers they are today. So they have, reference points instead of just, they don't have to be themselves as much. They can kind of channel in certain people that they love to mirror, emulate. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
And the hardest hip hop interview I ever did, which ironically I'll have to tell him when I see him, because actually we're friendly now, was Public Enemy.
Wow, okay.
Because they were so out of control when I interviewed them. Again, this is a long time ago. Okay, I digress. But yeah, because they were so mean. They were really mean. They made me cry. I didn't cry until after the interview, but still I cried.
See, one of my highlight interviews was for good and bad reason. My highlight interview was your boy Shock G.
Oh yeah, Shock.
Yeah. So Shock G is a very multi-layered person, and he came into the studio right before the All Eyes on Me movie got released. We were just talking Tupac, talking Pac legacy, talking his legacy, talking the Bay Area. And Shock came in with a little inebriated. I would say a little inebriated.
Yeah.
And he took the opportunity to freestyle inebriated, and he said more cuss words than we said that whole year on the radio show. And the owner of the station's wife was listening and called us in and said, "Hey, that was the most offensive half hour of radio I've ever heard in my whole life," and had us apologize and almost cost me my job. I almost didn't make it here. But shout out Shock G, shout out hip hop.
Yeah, well, Shock was my friend, so I'll defend him by saying he was just a wild one.
We love Shock.
Yeah, we love Shock G. But he was definitely he was a handful, for sure.
2 hands.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Shock G. Gone too soon. Okay. Well, today also marks not just International Hip Hop Day or whatever the official title of that is, hip hop's birthday, whatever y'all want to call it. It's also the anniversary this week or so is the anniversary of the Watts Rebellion, or Watts Riot, if you want to call it that. I usually call it a rebellion. This is a really important point in history, which I think sometimes we're losing sight of history a little bit, I would say, because, not just because of the erasure that's happening under Trump, but just time passing. And so I think it's really important to tap in with what 1965 means, not just to LA, but to this entire country, the Black Liberation Movement, also really uniquely the development of Los Angeles. And I'm so pleased and honored to have with us this morning the executive director of the Watts Labor Community Action Committee, which is a nonprofit community-based human social services organization focused on improving the quality of life for South LA residents. But an activist carrying on a very, very important legacy. Ted Watkins Jr., welcome.
Tim Watkins. And I don't mind being called Ted Watkins Jr.
Sorry, Tim Watkins, yeah. Oh, well, look, I don't mind being called Amiri Baraka Jr. either, but it's not my name.
How you doing, Dominique?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How are you, Mr. Watkins?
I'm good. I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Okay, that's a wonderful way to start the week. Grateful for what?
I'm grateful to be 72 years old and still living, breathing, and thriving in Watts.
Oh, you got that great.
Born and raised there, yeah.
You got that grateful for life, grateful for another day energy going on.
Absolutely.
You're the 4th president and CEO of the WLCAC, and it's. We hear less now, and people call it South LA, not South Central, and we hear less and less about our community, I think, in the mainstream media. You laugh. You agree?
Well, yeah, that's absolutely true. Even though most of us, thought that somehow there was an organic shift in the demographics, but over the last 20 years, the benefit of getting older is you can see farther back, And I got to tell you, I know for a fact how artificially induced this massive shift has actually been.
Okay, so talk to me. What do you mean massive shift, and what do you mean artificially induced?
Well, 20 years ago, give or take, LA was a 80-20 black-brown. And almost overnight, it went 80-20 brown-black. And don't get me wrong, I love my brown brother. I canceled Juneteenth this year because I couldn't bring myself to celebrate freedom while people were getting locked up like animals on the streets. So, we're in the struggle together, but oftentimes we're being pitted against each other, used, to fight for crumbs, while others look on from afar. And that's what happened in Watts 60 years ago. It wasn't a problem with brown people. It was a problem with crumbs.
That was a problem. A problem with crumbs is hilarious.
Yeah.
I want to get into that. That's an interesting perspective. Also, I just don't know that people really understand all of the things that came out of that rebellion, which we still rely on today. We're talking Watts. We're talking with the leader now of the Watts Labor Community Action Committee, which continues to do important work, increasingly important work in this time. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
This is Secret Clinical Dominating Extra Stinky Stress Sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave.
Oh, what a beautiful day.
This is regular deodorant.
Ugh, I can't.
Secret Clinical with workout sweat.
Let's run another marathon.
And regular deodorant.
How much more?
Secret is the GOAT. Because nothing fights sweat better.
Stay fresher under pressure.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
There's one question every couple needs to answer. What if something happens to us? Kids, a house, a life you've built, but no estate plan? That's a risk you don't want to take. With Trust and Will, it's fast, secure, and easy to protect what matters most. Start your plan today at trustandwill.com. Use code RADIO to save 20%. Check it off your list. One less thing to worry about. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will. Your ancestors' favorite radio station. And your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, we are talking history, but we're talking right now. They converge, and Timothy Watkins, Sr. is my guest. He's the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Watts Labor Community Action Committee. You were just a little kid when the rebellion took place. Do you remember anything?
12 years old.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I remember. I remember so much. I remember the noise and the sound of screeching tires and sirens and gunshots. I witnessed an LA sheriff force a man to put his hands against the wall just a couple hundred feet away from my house and shot him in the back.
Wow.
That was my introduction to reality.
Ooh, that's a terrible introduction.
Prior to that, we were kids in elementary school, and the policeman would come in after saving someone's cat, and he was like our, the champion and the hero. But when I saw that, I understood what the danger was. But more than that, it was a heck of it was an ironic time. You're smelling all of this meat, cooking, like, because of the stores that got set on fire, and the food was cooking and barbecuing, and it smelled like a great big picnic. But
wow, weird.
There's some misimpressions, some misinformation about the so-called riot. Yes, there was a riot. It was a Los Angeles riot, and it was what the whole world called it for the first 2 years after the Los Angeles riot. The Watts part of that was a revolt. The revolt was, it wasn't staged, but it was definitely planned. Tommy Chaquette, a good friend of mine, explained how
he rest
they
in
plotted.
peace. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, may he rest in peace.
Yeah.
And he said that the next time he was subjected to police brutality, he was going to issue some of his own. And that's what he did over on 116th, and I guess that was 116th and Avalon. Outside of Watts, the majority of the burning, looting, and death happened outside of Watts. And we'll take, the billions of dollars that have been spent perpetuating the idea that it was a Watts riot. We'll take that, but it saddled us with the stigma that somehow we were responsible for what was happening, across Los Angeles. It became a solution for LA that was seeing death to the tourism industry. And so when they shifted it from the Los Angeles riot, which is what the McCone Commission, all the other studies called it, the LA Times and the Herald, all of those. When they shifted it to to the Watts riot, tourism was able to pick back up, and the rest is history.
So you're really saying that Watts became the scapegoat for the LA rebellion?
Yes. And of course, it happened again, no different in 1992. No different. We were the single largest loss. We had the single largest loss in the LA riots of 92 at $4.5 million. Very few know about it. The National Guard was there the morning after we got burned to the ground. And, some would wonder, why would WLCAC get burned to the ground? Because we were always the employer, the friend, the summer jobs and so on. But by 1992, all of the gains from 1965 had pretty much been exhausted, dissipated. Federal grants, all of that, welfare that came into the community after the 1965 riots.
Timothy Watkins Sr. is my guest. We got news, traffic, and sports right here. Then we'll continue this conversation. I want to talk about some of the things, the gains that you're talking about, whether they've all truly dissipated. Where does that leave us right now? As we look at 1965 to 2025 and beyond. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. President Donald Trump will meet with Russian President Putin Friday in Alaska to discuss an end to the war in Ukraine. White House correspondent John Decker talked with Trump about the upcoming meeting.
The president told me that he's optimistic about reaching a peace deal involving President Putin, representing Russia, and President Zelensky representing Ukraine.
Trump has not offered details on where in Alaska the meeting will be held. New data from the CDC says COVID-19 seems to be on the rise in the U.S. CDC officials claim wastewater activity for COVID-19 is at a moderate level nationally, up from low last week. And a new poll by the economist YouGov claims President Trump's approval rating has dropped 25 points among black voters since May. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The LA Sparks got another W Sunday night. The Sparks' 94-91 win last night over the Seattle Storm is their 10th win in the last 13 games. Darica Hamby converted a layup with 5.6 seconds left in the fourth quarter to seal it. The Sparks at 15-16 have a chance to reach 500 for the first time since May 18th. They play the defending WNBA champs, the New York Liberty, Tuesday night at Crypto.com Arena. The Chargers are 2-0 in the preseason after beating New Orleans 27-13. The star of the game was Chargers rookie cornerback Eric Rodgers from Rutgers. Rodgers had 2 interceptions. He ran back 43 yards for a touchdown. The Chargers play the Rams Saturday afternoon at SoFi. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford is scheduled to practice Monday for the first time in training camp if he's healthy. Stafford is trying to recover from a slipped disc in his lower back. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
It is hip-hop's birthday, as we've noted. We can talk more about that next hour. It's also the anniversary week of the LA riot. Watts Rebellion is what I've always known it to be. Tim Watkins Sr. is my guest. He's over the WLCAC. WLCAC came out of labor, right?
That's right. Well, it came out of a combination of labor, but my family, my father, who came to Watts when he was 13 years old from Mississippi he came here to escape a lynch mob. He was supposed to be strung up at 12 midnight, and his people put him on a train, and he came out to Watts, and that's where he lived until he joined Ford Motor Company. Ford Motor Company saw him as a leader and got him involved in the union. And the union under Walter Reuther stepped up to see what might be done to alleviate mounting pressures in Watts, where it was clear that things were going to blow sooner or later. And so, yes, from labor, 17 different trade unions came together to support the establishment of the Watts Labor Community Action Committee.
Thus the labor part in the name. And you reflecting on 65 and how, and then 92, which they actually do call the LA civil unrest or LA riot. You said by 92, a lot of those gains had dried up. When I think of the Watts Rebellion and the impact that it had, I think about, King Hospital. I think about the Watts Games. I think about at least, even though a lot of times they might have underfunded and done it without cultural competence, the inclusion of South LA in these conversations, I feel like probably none of those things would have happened had it not been for that rebellion in 1965.
Well, that's true. I often, get criticized because I don't pat people on the back a lot, and I don't always strive to give credit where credit is due, because I think if you do your job, you get, that's what your check is for.
You're one of those. I don't give you props for what you're supposed to do, for what you were supposed to do anyway.
Well, my daughter is in her 30s, teach me, that I have to be more appreciative. And I am. But I also, I'm disheartened by what I've seen.
Yeah.
When the disparity between 65 and 92. Oh, and by the way, your previous guest was Miles, and you guys talked about the birth of hip-hop and how old it was. I can tell you it was 60 years old, because I know for a fact Father Amdi and the Watts Prophets were rapping all the way back in 1965.
That's what, my dad, a poet Amiri Baraka, could arguably be called a rapper too. He sings scats.
That's right.
And thumps, halfway beatboxes. That's why I say it depends who you ask. Anyway.
That's right.
Glad you put the Watts Poets perspective on it.
Yeah. We got, the Southwest College and the Maxine Waters vocational schools, Martin Luther King Hospital, Charles Drew University, the Watts Labor Community Action Committee, Westminster Association. There's so many that came out of it, but those were the big 5 or 6 that, have stood the test of time. WLCAC is the only organization of its kind on American soil that has survived the long haul, having been founded in 1965, a year after the war on poverty was declared. Some people look back on that and think it was a war on poverty-stricken.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that we've seen how, too much of a good thing can hurt people rather than help them. We saw families divided that were already living in housing developments, and fathers had to be told to get out, or the mother would be cut off from her welfare benefits. And, I'm just one, of course, and people will probably dislike me for saying it, but I think in some ways welfare did more to break the back of Black nation than any other single policy device. And that's what WLCAC has been seeking to address for 60 years. Self-help, self-sufficiency, self-determination. Long before it was popular to hire formerly incarcerated people, they used to call them, you can remember when they used to call them ex-cons, and we started calling them formerly incarcerated because there's so many that were incarcerated that didn't deserve to be. And they come out and can't get a second chance. A war vet couldn't get a second chance. Someone that slipped on the job and fell and couldn't get back to work on time. All of a sudden, they became part of a single, a unit. It was homeless was a label attached to those folks, along with anyone else that didn't have a house to call home. And so we've been addressing those kinds of things for 60 years. Rent-to-own programs, so that instead of just paying rent, people actually end up with an asset for the rent that they've been paying. And we think that's, just one example of how we can affect the quality of life in Watts and nearby communities.
The other thing that happened on this day was the killing of Ezell Ford in 2014. And I raise that because, first of all, that was one of the police killings that really touched my heart. It felt like they should have known Ezell. He was known to the neighborhood, known to have mental health challenges. But secondly, it's this feeling, which is being reflected in our YouTube chat right now, KBLA 1580, that we're still fighting a lot of the same issues. We're still dealing with police abuse, police gangs, poverty, a lack of opportunity. How do you stay inspired, stay in the fight when you have that, the Groundhog Day thing going on?
That's an easy one. I love people. I have no reason to hate anyone. I have no regrets, no resentment. I understand that, there was a kid named Tupi that used to live with 13 other people in a 2-bedroom unit near Nickerson Gardens. And that kid came to me. He was thin as a stick. And I fed him, I clothed him, I taught him how to take care of himself, brush his teeth, brush his hair, so on and so forth. And bless his soul, and may he rest in peace. 20 years old, he got confronted in a moment, and he was gone. It wasn't a policeman. It wasn't, a drug deal. It was a neighbor. And the horror of that is that it goes on, and we haven't figured out as a society yet how to mitigate, violent confrontations with anything less than violence. Why is it that we are still killing and hurting each other around the world after all of these years? And a kid like Ezell or a kid like Tupi or how many others have gone the way of violence, especially with gun violence being what it is. I don't mean to go off the rails. It's just that I get sickened by the fact that no matter how old our society gets, the world society hasn't learned yet how to let peace dictate the terms of life rather than violence dictating the terms of peace.
The other thing I'm hearing about in this chat, Paul Lee was talking about how his family had to leave out of South LA, couldn't afford to stay, or were pushed out, didn't want to leave, and the issue of gentrification. You were speaking on the browning of South LA, which, okay, when you live in what's formerly Mexico, don't be surprised if you see Mexicans or Salvadorians or Nicaraguans or whatever. I get that. But that's not always gentrification. I don't know what you call that. But what we see, at least over here, but certainly reputedly happening in Watts, is more high-end housing being built that doesn't seem to be targeting us as residents.
Well, yeah, depending on which developments you're looking at. If you look at the Housing Authority's developments, the City of Los Angeles Housing Authority is certainly contributing to the gentrification of Watts, but most people can't see how that is. They've done an exemplary job of using funding to coerce, persuade, cajole, and invite community organizations into, program opportunities and other grants and so on. That's community organizing. But again, it's an artificial induction of community organizing. It's a way to bring people in that wouldn't otherwise participate. And so you saw overnight a $1 billion development at Jordan Downs push all of its most vocal, verbal black folks out. And I was a participant in the push back against that. It was called Watts Rising about 20 years ago. And I participated in pushing back on the Housing Authority that was promising people that they'd become millionaires if they participated in building the new Jordan Downs. But there you go, 10 years later, which is now 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they built Jordan Downs, and Jordan Downs is predominantly brown. But that's all right. WLCAC has 2,000 units in the pipeline, and we intend to bring the people that are in greatest need into those units, predominantly homeless. And we want 20% of those units to be rent to own, and half the time it would take to buy, with a traditional loan or what have you. And so what I say to the folks over on the west side, that some of them don't remember that they came from Watts. They don't realize that, Big Mama was in Watts, that you couldn't get out of Watts because the covenant restrictions and the redlining would see you being pulled over by police if you went west of Main or north of 92nd. And so now people look back and they kind of forget where home was. But for us, for me, for those who have been here for the long haul, we understand that poor public policy has probably been the greatest contributor to gentrification. And if we just let it happen, if we don't have our own solution other than to complain about it and try to resist it, I say ride the wave. Dominique, get on the wave. Make sure you don't look for no damn boat. We got leaky-ass boats in Watts. Those boats,
So what, ride the wave, what does that mean? How do you ride the wave?
Get a surfboard.
Okay.
Get on whatever that opportunity is that comes with gentrification. More stores, better, public services. Get the street trees trimmed, the potholes fixed, the buckling sidewalks repaired. Do all of those things, but be in the mix. Don't move to San Bernardino or Palmdale, Lancaster, Inland Empire. Don't move and watch it and complain from afar. Be in the mix.
I'm laughing because I've been saying that for years, but people told me to stop saying it. So I did,
Yeah.
because they were telling me, look, if people want to sell their homes, if they feel they have no choice, who are you to judge? So I kind of shut up, but I was saying that for about 15 years. Like, yo, come on. Circle your wagons. If we dilute our voting power, if we move far away, then we don't have the clout to even hold the line. But that said, there's several more questions and comments in the chat that I'd love to have you address when we continue this conversation, including Carl Tucker wants to know, how did the rebellion impact the people in the projects there? And my own question, which is, since 92, have we seen a re-upping of any of these resources? And where are we now? What do we need to do now? It seems like we're in the defund community era from Washington. So how are we weathering that storm? Looking back at the Watts rebellion, looking forward at our bright future. Little Sankofa around here. KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent. And the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember,
no warrant, no key. 556. You don't have to speak. No 556. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Okay, Tim Watkins Sr. is my guest. We were looking at Watts. He is over the WLCAC. Before we get to the speed round here with the 50,000 questions we have left, how can people support you? How can they track you? How can they tap in with WLCAC?
WLCAC.org, Watts Labor Community Action Committee. And that's our website, WLCAC.org. And there's a donation button there. But more importantly, we have a vibrant volunteer department, and we also have an archivist. We're one of the few Black organizations, Black-founded organizations, that sees the importance of protecting and preserving the evidence of our historic and cultural experience. And so, Dominic, one day when you are interested in seeing one of the most remarkable archives in LA, I'll show you ours.
Okay, I'm ready for that.
And I got to tell you, 100 years of evidence that shows everything from daily newspapers, weekly magazines, ephemera, all of the so-called, memorabilia, Black memorabilia. I call it Americana, because it doesn't reflect our heritage, but it's someone else's impression of us. There's a lot of ways to get involved with us. We have a 2.5-acre farm on 103rd Street, where we will help you volunteer a day if you want to plant or pull produce out of the ground, or if you want to work with kids. We've got art summer camp going on right now with 300 kids free every day. But if you'd like to get involved in the entrepreneurial side of things, if you're interested in self-sufficiency and self-determination, that 2,000 units I told you about is all going to be built on ground floor retail spaces where we will work with major brands to create training centers for people that want to work for a brand but don't know how and where to get started other than to fill out an employment application. That's not enough. And one more thing, I got a lot of friends on the West Side, live in View Park and Ladera Heights and so on and so forth. And the complaints that I hear from them about people coming and looking in their kitchen window right there while they're washing the dishes, as if they're entitled. Create housing associations and homeowners associations that set up the rules. That's one of the biggest promulgators of gentrification, is how after those folks buy a house and come in, all of a sudden they don't like the chickens in your backyard, or the fact that you dry your clothes on the fence, or that you work on your car in the front yard. Our cultural habits in Watts will go by the wayside if we don't organize around being the determinants of our own cultural experience. And it's no different anywhere. It's just that we don't organize that way. You understand the code when I say we and they and so on.
Yes, I do. Financial coaching, tutoring in college, daily food pantry, employment services, housing and rental assistance, utility assistance, tax preparation, case management, and so much more. Look, I peppered you with a bunch of questions before news, traffic, and sports, but we got a minute and a half here, so I'm just going to hand you the mic, and you're going to tell us what you want us to know about Watts 2025.
Wow. Watts 2025. Watts stands for We Are Taught to Survive. We're not victims. We are great. Every one of us wakes up great every morning that we breathe. And, I was taught that by somebody that spent a lot of years in a level 4 penitentiary. And today we are good friends. And that man tells me I'm great. And I love that because it's true. We're rich with potential. We might not have a lot of money, but our ability to innovate solutions to our own dilemmas, when we stop allowing ourselves to be subjected to the expectations of others that think they're superior to us, that think. That's the disease, baby. That's where I get my freedom. The only one I'm subject to, if they're superior to me, is a superior court judge that has the power of life and death or freedom in fact. Anybody else, if you're holding a gun on me, oh yeah, I'm listening. But if it's not like that, I'm thinking and breathing and feeling of my own volition. I'm a free man. And I wish more people understood that. Too many of us allow ourselves to be subject to the expectations of someone else. And understand, I'm a product of a white woman and a black man. And I stopped trying to figure out which one I was. I'm both. For sure I'm both, because I can feel, that linear side, and I can feel that free-flowing rhythmic side. And I use it to my advantage because it helps me discern where people are coming from when they approach me.
Well, we have to leave that one there, because that's a whole other show for another day, and I'd love to do it.
I'll be here.
Okay, well, Mr. Tim Watkins, thank you so much for doing the show, and thank you for all the great work you're doing out there.
It's all right.
News, traffic, and sports, then Mindful Monday next.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. President Donald Trump will meet with Russian President Putin Friday in Alaska to discuss an end to the war in Ukraine. White House correspondent John Decker talked with Trump about the upcoming meeting.
The president told me that he's optimistic about reaching a peace deal involving President Putin, representing Russia, and President Zelensky, representing Ukraine.
Trump has not offered details on where